A great program makes connections that you may not have thought of before. It juxtaposes works in ways that shows each of them in new, fresh lights, or establishes contrasts and connections that are delightful together. I made the analogy before to a meal, and that holds. You want a kind of balance. You really don't want 3 heavy pastries in a row or 3 heavy dairy dishes. Some people might think it reduces music to compare it to that, but there's a sense of balance. One thing that I think is really a shame in programming today that some people have written about for some time now is that we've lost the lighter side of programming to the realm of pops concerts, and that each program is, there's a tendency in programming to be very earnest, especially if you're coming to Carnegie Hall. You want to present something that really is an artistic statement. And going to my home orchestra, the National Symphony Orchestra, week in and week out, which is the experience of most subscription audiences, I notice a lot of artistic ambition, and the pops concerts take all of the light stuff. And it used to be that a Toscanini would open with a frothy Rossini overture. At the beginning of my critical career, I probably would have excoriated him for doing that. But as you go longer and longer, you realize that the lighter side of music and the fun of music is essential to the experience of music. And I complain a lot these days that everybody is so bent on perfection and artistic seriousness and integrity, and on what the critics like me are going to say, that there's this tremendous seriousness when you play. I heard a Mendelssohn violin concerto the other week, and the Mendelssohn violin concerto is just a delightful piece. It's got a spark, it's got a dance, and if you look at old videos of, say, Isaac Stern playing that thing, he's laughing, like there's a twinkle in his eye. It doesn't mean he's being lighthearted about it or clowning around about it, but you can hear the twinkle in his eye. And I had a performance the other week where it was tremendously intense, and it's a hard piece to play, but I missed the twinkle, and I think the twinkle should be there in programming as well. I think that's tremendously helpful. The aspect of programming, though, that most people come to is new music on the program, and that really divides audiences, because a lot of people who go to the orchestra go because they want to hear Beethoven. I've had readers' letters saying orchestras only exist to play music of the 19th century and before. But that's not true, and orchestras are made up of living musicians, and orchestras want to move into the world around them and should be able to do that. And it's very hard to do that playing music to an audience that doesn't want to hear it. And finding ways to bring the audience with you into the contemporary, or finding a new audience for the contemporary, is a big challenge for orchestras. And very often on programs you have the sense that, okay, we've got the, I made the meal analogy before, here we've got the vegetables, the new music piece, we got to hear it, we know it's good for us, we know it's good for the field, but can we please get back to our Beethoven? And the story I always tell, it was a string quartet program, and the quartet played, I think they opened with Haydn and closed with Brahms, and in the middle came Lutoslawski. It was at the Frick collection. And there was a woman, I won't say little old lady, that's so demeaning. There was a woman in front of me who slept peacefully with a smile on her face through the Haydn. And the Lutoslawski began, and she was like a cat that had been dunked in water. She sat up, you could see her ears go back, and she was so indignant. She was awake for the whole thing, and she listened. And then the Brahms came and she went back to sleep. And I always think that's an illustration of programming, what people think they want versus what they're actually getting out of it.